Okay, I think we're on. I hope so because I just tried to record this whole thing, but I forgot to press record. So we're going to try again, and I hope I remember what I said. Welcome back to the channel, friends. I'm Melanie Mishler, and today I want to go a little deeper on something that honestly, once I understood it, like once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. It really changed how I move through my life, and I have a feeling it might explain why a lot of you are feeling maybe feeling stuck right now, especially if you've been feeling exhausted, stuck, or like maybe your dreams are just been pushed to the back burner. So stick with me because we're going to talk about how to increase your energy and your power quickly and naturally. No drugs, I promise. But I want to start with a story because y'all know I love analogies and I love stories. So, years ago, before Andy and I were even married, we went through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University together. And now, if you haven't done FPU, I'm going to give it a big plug right now because it completely changed our lives. So I think everyone should go do it. I think it should be essential learning in high school. But anyway, in the course, Dave shared this analogy about Clydesdale horses, those big horses. Now, I grew up in Los Angeles. I never been around horses at all. But apparently these guys, they pull massive loads. I think one can pull something like 8,000 pounds, right? And that's crazy. So you would think that if you have two horses and they're both pulling a load, that you would think one can pull 8,000. Well, two, that's 16. That's simple math, right? But that's not what happens. What happens is really interesting when you yoke two horses together and they are in sync, which means they're trained, they're going towards the same goal, they're pulling the same weight in the same direction, and their steps are in sync. So they have the same vision basically. Their power, like their pulling power, it doesn't just double, it multiplies. So like they go from being able to pull the 16,000 to something like 23 or 32,000 pounds together. Now, when I first heard this, it totally blew my mind. It's like how much more powerful they are together just by being in sync, just by being aligned. And some people will call this, teamwork or synergy, but I call it energy being amplified. And so when we learned this concept at FPU, Andy and I went home and we like implemented everything. We did everything Dave Ramsey told us to do. And we were like, okay, we're fusing everything. We're joining our accounts, we're joining forces, we're joining our visions, we're moving towards the same goal. And when we did that, we were on fire. In a good way, not a bad way. We very quickly we paid off all of our debt. We bought our house in California. We paid cash for our first house in Belize. We built businesses. We were building wealth, and it was really fast. And I truly believe it's because we were in such sync and such alignment with our goals, and because we had that power amplified. But here's the thing no one really talks about when you're working with a partner or when you're yoked to another horse, right? That only works when both horses are pulling in the same direction. Because the moment one horse decides to like, I'm going to pull over here, or I'm going to go off and into the pasture and just eat some clovers, then suddenly you're out there, pulling this massive load completely by yourself. And God, I see that so much right now. No wonder you're tired, right? Women, especially I see this with women over 40 who they're waking up and realizing like, God, I've been holding this whole show together, right? I've been carrying the vision. I've been doing all the things. I've been showing up every single day while their partners are out, grazing. And if you can relate to this, of course you're exhausted. Of course you are. This is not a you problem, friend. This is a physics problem, right? It's a math problem. But here's what I really want to talk about today, and what I really, really want you to hear today. And I mean, really hear it. I want this to land in your body. You don't need another person to access that amplified power. Not even close. You don't need a life partner. You don't need a business partner. You don't need a guru. You don't need anyone, not even close. Because here's what most people don't understand. There is a constant, unlimited stream of energy and guidance and well-being and everything that you need. It's constantly available to you at all times, like 24/7, 365 days a year. It doesn't run out. It doesn't take days off. It doesn't, skip leap year or holidays. And most importantly, and I mean most importantly, it does not depend on another person showing up or fusing with your vision. And it also doesn't care like where you grew up or how much money you have or what your education is or what trauma you've been through. It doesn't care about any of that. It's just always there waiting for you to connect with it. And I like to think of it as kind of as like the water main that comes into our house, right? So at our house in California, we're connected up, we're on city water. So there's, the huge city pipes that go through the whole neighborhood. And then our house, we have a main valve that connects to the city. And that supply is constantly there on the street. It's always there. It's always ready to supply us with water. I don't think it's ever been turned off by the city, right? But here's the thing, that supply, it can be on the street flowing perfectly, but you can still lose water at the house because you can have a burst pipe. The valve can get turned off. You can have clogged pipes or, rusty pipes, all kinds of things, right? That doesn't mean the water is not flowing. It's always there. And your connection to your power, to your source, it's always there and it works the same exact way. The question isn't, is it there? The question is your valve on, right? Are you in alignment? Are you fused with your own vision? And when you open that connection, when you learn to open it and you can access it on will, when you really align with it, something it's really noticeable. Like almost feels magical, but it's not magic. It starts to happen. Like suddenly things get clearer. You feel calmer. You're more focused. You're energized and you become like genuinely magnetic to the things that you want. And I'm sure you felt this at some point in your life when you made a real decision, like about something, not a like, oh yeah, I think I want that, which we tend to do, right? But a real commitment. And you're like, I'm going to do this decision. Then as soon as you do that, as soon as you make that commitment, that decision, things kind of start to arrange themselves around you, right? You might bump into someone who says the exactly right thing at the exact time. An opportunity might like come out of nowhere. You have ideas pop into your head at 2 a.m. or when you're in the shower. And you might find yourself thinking like, oh, that's so weird. But it's not weird at all. That's exactly what alignment looks like. That's what happens when your energy and your vision and your power are all moving in the same direction instead of like out here or over here or to your kids or to I'm not saying don't focus on your kids. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we have to be committed to our own inner vision, right? One of my teachers says that a person who is fully in attunement, fully in alignment is more powerful than millions of people who are not. And the first time I heard that, I'm like, okay, that's a little dramatic, but then I've seen it. I've seen it in my own life and I've seen it in others where you can see when someone's just kind of magnetic and things seem effortless. And they're not effortless. They're just in attunement. And that also solves the problem of, sometimes we put our dreams on the back burner because we're like, well, I don't know how this is going to be possible, or I don't know the steps to take. And so we resist committing because we're not fully either we don't believe that it can happen or we don't know how it's going to happen or we don't think we have the resources to make it happen. But when I work with people and in the method I teach, it's not about that. There's a saying out there that says like, fuck the how for now. It's not our job to figure out the how. It's our job to commit to the vision. Because when we do that, the how is going to reveal itself. And sometimes it comes from outside sources. Sometimes it comes from, like I said, some synchronicity. You bump into someone. It comes from all kinds of ways. That's not our job to figure out. Our job is to commit and attune and lock in with our source. And so that's all great and dandy, but it's like, okay, well, how do you actually start with that? And again, I really think it's how Andy and I started back in our FPU days. We got crystal fucking clear on our vision. We got so clear and there was no holding us back from that once we got clear and we committed. And so I want to ask you, and you hear me ask this a lot, like, what do you want? Like, what do you really want? Like, not what's practical or reasonable or what you think, you should want, or, what do your kids want? What do your husband want or wife want? What do you want? And more importantly, why is that important to you? Because you might have heard me say this too. Many of us let our dreams quit quietly on us, not because we stopped wanting them, but because we never fully said yes, like ever, right? We kind of like half wanted things. We're like, "Well, I hope this happens one day," or we think about things or we dream about things, yeah, one day I'm going to write a book, or one day I'm going to learn to speak French, or one day I'm going to go travel, or I hope someday I can, that's not committing. That's not a decision. And that's just us, talking out into the ethers. And now I understand there's a lot of reasons for this, right? Many of us have been focusing our energy like on everything outside of us, our families, our kids, our partners, our careers, like all of that stuff. And especially when you're in the season of raising kids, like I'm out of that season now. So I have a lot more time for myself, but it can be really easy during that season to put our energy into everyone but ourselves, and then feel like, or like I remember I felt like at the end of the day there was like really little left for me at the end of the day, very left for my own dreams. So at some point, maybe it's now, maybe it's been building for a while, but you start to realize those dreams didn't go anywhere. They've been there kind of waiting in the background for you to actually revive them and for you to actually commit to them, not just talk about them, commit to them. Because the moment that you do, the moment that you make that commitment, and get really clear and really focus on what you want, and you stay there and you kind of hold it steady, that's when things really start to shift, and they start to shift really quickly. And again, you don't have to get anyone on your bandwagon. You don't have to get anyone to do something or to stop doing something. And because you're fully resourced from within yourself. And so when you're fully resourced, then man, your power, it starts to come back online, and it starts to come back strong. Kind of like if you've ever turned the water off on the valve at the street, and then you turn it back on, and the water, like, I mean, it comes back in really, really fast. It's kind of like a dam breaking. So anyway, if any of this hit home today, or if you're sitting there thinking like, yeah, Melanie, I've been holding pulling this whole down load alone. I'm like so tired. I want to hear from you. I definitely want to hear. So drop a comment, send me a DM. And if you're at a place where you really want to start working on this, going deeper, and you want some support, I do have right now some openings for my 30-day one-on-one. So with that, we go really deep. We work very closely together for 30 days, and you will get some rapid clarity. There's no pressure, there's no forcing. It's not some like long program. It's in 30 days, you will feel clear and more grounded and more connected to yourself. Not because I gave you the answers or anyone else did, but because you finally took the time to slow down and really tune in and really listen. And it can help to have someone by your side to support you with that. So if you're interested, there's all the info's in show notes. I do have a few openings for this month. And until next week, make sure you hit subscribe so that you get notified. And I will see you next week. Till then, go turn on your valve and keep manifesting an epic life.